Have you ever walked away from a conversation with a sinking feeling, knowing that something was off, but you're confused because they seem so nice? What if that disconnect was actually a sign uncovering hidden manipulation disguised as kindness? If you find yourself feeling guilty, emotionally drained, or replaying conversations to try to make sense out of what was said, you might be dealing with a nice narcissist. I spent the last 20 years researching self-worth and narcissistic relationships. As a coach, author, and survivor myself, I teach simple systems to help empower you in any situation. Even though nice narcissists aren't typically vindictive, they're still crafty manipulators who want to use you. So recognizing their manipulation can save you from years of confusion, exhaustion, and overwhelm. In this video, I'll give you 3 clues that'll help you spot a nice narcissist in conversation, personal stories to help you recognize these patterns, and actionable strategies to empower you in any conversation, making sure you're always one step ahead. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling emotionally exhausted, but you can't really put your finger on why? This is our first clue in spotting a nice narcissist in conversation. The subtle yet draining combination of pride and vanity. You'll notice a specific kind of pride, a false humility or downplaying of their own needs that makes them seem superior. Their vanity is different from typical narcissistic grandiosity. It's more like the old idea of vainglory, an obsession with empty, superficial appearances lacking real depth. When you mix these traits together, someone who acts like you're the broken one who needs help with someone who's obsessed with appearing nice, you end up with a seriously confusing person to deal with because it'll look and sound like they're trying to help you, but it doesn't feel like help. It's weirdly exhausting and confusing. If you think about covert narcissists and how they secure their narcissistic supply by manipulating to get your pity and your assurance, the nice narcissist is the same idea, but just upside down. Instead of wanting pity and assurance, nice narcissists want to pity you and to assure you. And this makes it super tricky for those of us who are really kind and caring and giving because we tend to make excuses for their behavior. Instead of seeing the manipulation for what it is, a way to keep narcissistic supply flowing, we tell ourselves that we shouldn't feel so frustrated and we end up feeling guilty for not wanting to be around them because they're nice and they're not technically really doing anything wrong. I've been in plenty of situations where help is offered, but it feels like a burden I just don't want. Part of that is my own baggage. After being in narcissistic relationships, you learn to want nothing, need nothing, and you become super alert to paying off any debts, real or imagined. So with most people offering help, I felt this crazy need to return the favor right away. With the nice narcissist, I almost instantly feel this deep resentment. Now, this doesn't mean that every time I'm resentful, I'm dealing with a narcissist. No, of course not. But it's definitely a warning sign that something's off. When you find yourself in a conversation where the person is offering help or connections, use this give to get test. A key indicator of the nice narcissist is their need to be seen as an indispensable facilitator to your opportunities. Their insistence on being a central figure secures their source of narcissistic supply. For example, they might want to help you by connecting you with one of their fabulous friends. And to navigate something like this, ask something like, that would be wonderful. Could you give me their contact information? If they say something like, I'll introduce you and you can take it from there, or let me check with her to make sure it's okay to share her number, that signals a healthy boundary with no hidden agenda. However, if they just want to be involved for the praise, or they want to be at the meetings, or they need to meddle to inflate their sense of importance, that's a red flag. The key is to observe if their continued presence adds value or merely serves their own interest. You can politely end their involvement by saying, thank you for making this happen. I'll take it from here. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling oddly uncomfortable, even though you were just showered with compliments? This is our second clue to spotting a nice narcissist in conversation. Over the top flattery with a hidden agenda. Nice narcissists use excessive praise not out of kindness, but as a tool to manipulate the relationship. Their fawning keeps you emotionally indebted, securing more narcissistic supply. When you're talking with a nice narcissist, watch out for compliments that assume too much intimacy too soon. Like if your boss says, "You're the most organized person ever. I wish I had someone like you at home to take care of me." This clearly crosses professional and personal boundaries. These over the top compliments are designed to fast track entanglement, and they don't stop there. They often use these compliments to indirectly boost themselves. Like, "Oh my gosh, your hair is so beautiful. I'm sure you have the same problem as me. You guys are always hitting on me because of my hair." This kind of compliment subtly creates an us versus them scenario, aligning you with them. By including themselves, they're elevating their status and making themselves seem like you're equal. And this flattery isn't friendly chat. It's a strategic move to make you feel special so that you give them what they want. And I used to fall for this all the time because I genuinely like complimenting other people. I was naive to the dark side of flattery, taking kind words at face value. Now I'm much more careful and discerning. It's not like I'm walking around thinking everybody's out to get me, but my spidey sense definitely kicks in if there's some kind of excessive sweetness and almost saccharine quality to the flattery. I think of it as a pretty little lie that's clearly meant for manipulation. The biggest red flag is what happens inside me, though. If I feel obligated to return the praise or feel like I owe them something in return, this is a big warning sign that I'm falling into an old dysfunctional pattern. When you suspect somebody is using over the top flattery as manipulation, use the flattery filter method. Imagine you're at a party and someone starts showering you with compliments. Your outfit's amazing. Your career achievements are inspiring. You're the most interesting person they've ever met. So, how do you respond? First, take a breath. Then ask yourself, does this praise fit the situation? And how well do I know this person? Now, here's the key. View the compliment as information about the giver, not about you. What does it reveal about them? Notice how you feel. Genuine compliments usually leave you feeling appreciated without pressure. Flattery that's manipulation often causes confusion, discomfort, or a sense of obligation. Regardless of how you perceive the compliment, respond with a simple, "I appreciate that." If you're talking with a genuinely kind person, this response is neutral and polite. But for someone who's aiming to manipulate, who wants you to thank them, this response sets a clear boundary. "I appreciate that" keeps you distinctly separate while staying polite. If you'd like a copy of the tools I share, sign up below and you'll get a new 3-minute empowerment plan every week. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone swoops in as the hero, even though you didn't need help and didn't want help? This is the third clue to identify a nice narcissist in conversation, the reverse savior complex. This is when someone positions themselves as a hero, subtly baiting you into a role where you not only allow them to rescue you, but where they feel elevated and needed by you. Nice narcissists excel at this. They frame help offers in the way that makes you feel guilty if you don't accept. They might say, "I love marketing and it would mean so much to me if you let me design your brochures," making you feel like you're going to hurt their feelings if you say no. The key to notice is that a nice narcissist ties their emotional well-being to your acceptance, making it more about affirming their importance than helping you. It's a manipulative technique designed to affirm their image of being kind, indispensable, and important. Once you let them in, their need for praise and acknowledgement becomes a bottomless pit. It was never really about helping you. It was always about keeping you under their influence and feeding their need for attention. By positioning themselves as your rescuer, they're not just offering assistance, they're exalting their own status. They want to be seen as a hero, and this affirmation of their niceness and importance is the true goal. I used to really struggle with this one because I was always so afraid of hurting people's feelings, and I had a hard time saying no. I felt responsible for other people's emotions, and I didn't have strong boundaries, which made me a very easy target. So now if I'm in a conversation and suddenly I feel like I'm supposed to let someone help me, I have to check myself. This doesn't necessarily mean that they are a nice narcissist, but it does mean that I'm aware that I can be easily manipulated through guilt. And that's my cue to take a step back. To manage a potential reverse savior complex, use the pause, reflect, and redirect technique. First, pause and ask yourself, do I actually want their help? If the answer is yes, even if you suspect that there might be strings attached, make sure to set clear expectations. Clearly outline the kind of help you want, what you need, how much, and when. For example, you could say something like, I appreciate your offer. I'd love your input on the design, but I only need help on the layout and I need it by Friday. If you realize that you don't need or don't want their help, take a mental note about whether you're feeling pressured or guilty. These feelings could be a sign that you're being manipulated. If you don't want or need their help, a simple "I've got it handled, but thanks for offering" can assert your boundaries and prevent you from getting pulled into their need for validation. This technique is important for anyone, especially for those of us who are uncomfortable with conflict. But if you really want to know how to become unmanipulatable, watch this video next to learn the simple behavior hack that you can use anywhere at any time, the surprising sources of manipulation in your daily life, and the biggest mistake that almost everybody makes, leaving them open to exploitation.